recognize this shirt? You do if you watched my last video. So welcome back to my channel. I am Stephanie with Minimalist Mom Life, and I want to talk about my thoughts on social media. So I shared this over on Instagram that I was going to be talking about this sometime this week because my 1 year on YouTube is coming up this next week while we're in Japan. And I asked if you guys had any questions specific to social media for me to answer, and then I'm also just going to chat with you about some of my thoughts on social media. I have debated on doing this video and had to kind of work through stuff because I don't want this to be super negative. I want it to be encouraging, but I also want to be honest about my thoughts without being, I don't know, just rude or judgmental or anything towards anybody that maybe has differing thoughts and does some of the things that I'm going to talk about. So hopefully that comes across in a loving way. These are just my opinions, just my thoughts, and I can get to answering y'all's questions. I made the joke about the fact that I'm wearing the same shirt because, yes, I am recording this right after I recorded my other video on things I wish I knew as a first-time mom. And I could have changed my shirt. That would have taken 5 seconds, but that's part of what I want to talk about with social media is that everybody knows that social media can be very crafted to look a certain way, and I could make it look like it's a different day, and I could change my background, and I could decorate my background, and honestly nothing would be wrong with either one of those things, and that's very common, especially in YouTube, to really make it as if you are, my example is like Oprah, you know, and you have your own little set, and you buy an expensive camera, and you do all these things. There is nothing wrong with that, but that is not my channel, and it's never going to be my channel, and that's not my desire. So I kind of want to talk about that, about how with social media we have options and how we can encourage others, and we have options in how we want to display things. So I'm going to give you my take on it and get to answer your questions. So I think I'll answer your questions first, and then I'll just go through the few types of social media that I have and kind of my ideas on each, okay? So I've written down your questions because, other thing if you don't know it, I record these videos on my phone. Quick side note is that I bought a like $80 camera in October, and I use it very rarely, and I did not buy an expensive camera, and my husband would not have allowed me to buy an expensive camera because that's not a priority for our family. YouTube is not a priority in my life, but it is a fun little outlet for hopefully encouraging other people, but it would not have been a good use of our funds, and we wanted to have that money to travel, and we're debt free, and we want to always be debt free, so I have to save a lot of money, and just doing other things. I did buy an $80 camera, and I use it for day in the life videos. And that's it. Everything else I record on my phone because it usually takes me about 15 minutes to record a video, including writing down what I'm going to say, and I've been thinking about it, but I write it down usually right before the video. And then it takes me 5 minutes or less to edit it on iMovie, and I have an older iPhone. I think this is an iPhone 6 something, 6S, just 6, I'm not sure. And then it uploads from iMovie onto YouTube, and it is done. So I guess I'm going to talk about YouTube first and not get to these questions. See, I'm all over the place, y'all. But YouTube, so I've been doing YouTube for almost a year. I started making money on YouTube maybe like 4 months into doing it, but you don't make a lot of money, and that's not why I did it. The background to why I even came over from YouTube is that I had a blog for a couple of years after we moved from South Carolina to California. I had been reading blogs. As a new mom, I think that's pretty common then. And I thought, I'd like to share and kind of document some of my life and share kind of how motherhood is for me, and so I started doing that on a blog. And I'm very passionate about debt-free living, and so I kind of wrote about that, and I kind of wrote about just cleaning routines and simplifying my home. But then I realized I was enjoying YouTube more than I was really reading people's blogs. But I was very intimidated to start YouTube because I think YouTube is the most negative area of social media. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I don't have Twitter or Snapchat and those things, but people are very negative on YouTube, and they're very quick to give you a thumbs down or tell you what they don't like, tell you what they think of you. And so I was very intimidated to do it for a while because I thought, well, I don't want that hate. Right now I have a blog, and most people that read my blog know me, and it's just kind of a way that I share, and I follow some other blogs that follow me back, and that's fun. But I thought, no, I think it would be neat to participate in this community that I'm also watching, and go ahead and, rather than blogging, just move my blogs over to YouTube videos. And so that's what I've done. So it's almost been a year, and I enjoy YouTube because it reaches a lot more people than blogging does, a lot easier. Blogging, I feel like, at least for me, was harder to get my name out there or have people be able to read it and find it and stuff, and YouTube seems a lot easier. I enjoy that, and I enjoy making these sit-down videos that I would normally be typing. And again, I've not put money into it other than my $80 camera, and I've made more than that, so that's okay. I use that camera mostly for home videos, like I did a Christmas video on our snowboarding trip, and I'll video stuff of Japan, but I don't share those things. I did not want YouTube to be, I'm not a family vlogger. I wanted to be very careful about what I share on here, still keeping our privacy in a lot of things, and not sharing everything, but just sharing the same things that I would share if I was blogging, because I did day in the life then too, kind of on my blog, just writing about them, sharing those things, and it is fun to connect with other YouTubers and just other people. But that is really all YouTube is. So some people don't like my channel for that reason, because I don't have lighting, and I don't have a nice camera, and I don't super rehearse what I say, so I can get chatty and run on tangents and rabbit chases and all that good stuff. But that's okay. My channel is not for them, and there are a lot of channels that have beautiful backdrops and have great lighting, and they're very, you know, they speak well and all of those things, and you can definitely visit those channels. It's not going to hurt my feelings. This is just my channel, again, very just normal, I feel like regular person. I didn't start YouTube because I thought I was super mom. I didn't start YouTube because I thought I was an expert about meal planning or an expert on minimalism or anything like that. I just started it just to share my regular life. And I'll be honest, most of the channels that I follow and that I watch are the same thing, are just people that don't claim to be perfect at anything or great at anything even. They're just kind of sharing their motherhood, and they're people that I feel like I would be mom friends with in real life, so I follow them because I feel like now I'm like online mom friends with them. So that is my channel in a nutshell. Where will I go a year in? Kind of the same place. I'll make videos when I have a chance. The YouTube is harder for me than blogging because I can blog silently, or the kids can, like one kid can be awake and I can blog because it's just typing. And with a YouTube video, I do need it to be kind of quiet so I can talk to y'all. So I don't have a posting schedule. I never have. I probably never will. Usually it's a video once a week or once every 2 weeks, but yeah, I only do videos when I really have something to share. I try to not make videos of everything everyone just asks me. If it's something that's simple enough for me to explain in the comments, I'm not going to take the time, my time or your time, and try and make a video out of it. I'm going to keep it pretty simple and to the point. But I have enjoyed my year on YouTube. I'm not out here to make this my career. I'm not out here to hustle. I have turned down the opportunity to represent different brands because it just wouldn't be something that I would actually buy in regular life. You know, if it's a watch or a pressure cooker or whatever and I'm not actually going to use it, then it doesn't make sense for me to get on here and talk about it because that just wouldn't be what I would be using. But if it's another YouTuber that actually uses those things, then by all means they should do that sponsorship and get that video. But anyway, that's kind of how YouTube has been for me. Facebook. Do I have Facebook? What are my thoughts on Facebook? So my thoughts on Facebook are I deleted it for a while. I think right after Lucy was born. I think I deleted it for like a month before, just took a break from it, and then right after she was born, I came back to Facebook because the church that we were in, there was like a ladies group. It was hard to connect with like what was going on there, and there were just different people that it was hard to stay connected with apart from it. What I did notice when I wasn't on Facebook is there were friends of mine that I had that would text me more often and stuff if they couldn't just keep up with life there, to actually check in and see how I was doing it, so that was kind of nice. I think Facebook can make us think that we're more connected than we are to people, and so we don't reach out and call them or we don't text them because we kind of know what's going on in their life, so we feel more connected than we actually are, and I think that can create loneliness with people because you're not really as connected as you think. But it was nice to be deleted for a while. I wouldn't mind if I wasn't on Facebook, but I got to a place now where I feel comfortable with my use of Facebook, and I love like the time hop or the, what is it, like this day years ago, where you can look and see all the things you've posted in the past few years. I love watching the baby pictures of Martin and the things that I've written about the boys as they've grown up, and it even encourages me to post more on Facebook, you know, of like what our day is like, because I love seeing the snippets of just the funny things that boys have done over the years, and then taking those and writing them down in their baby book or our picture book that we do every year, because on Facebook I've daily documented them, and I can, you know, just look back and laugh at my description of Elliot at 1.5 and all the things that Martin carried to the park when he was 3 years old, and George's favorite foods, and just all those fun things. I enjoy that. I enjoy, just we've moved quite a few times already since being married, so it's fun to stay connected with people that way. I'm just very careful that I don't, I know when to take off from Facebook, so, or not to scroll. You know, you can definitely post your little memories and not scroll through everybody else's, and especially when something happens in the world where everybody's going to have an opinion or things get political, a lot of times it's just best to back away from Facebook for a couple weeks or a couple days to just not see everybody's opinion, and be careful not to allow their angry opinion to get you into judging them or to feeling like they're on an opposing side from you, you know. I don't read mommy articles at all that are shared on there. If you saw my last video, you know that. Yeah, and so it's been good in some ways. Facebook, I think, can be good. Like many things, it's just how you use it. And so not sitting there mindlessly scrolling. One of the questions I have is how I limit my time on social media. So I don't want to be on my phone unless my kids are asleep, with the exception of like I will capture in memory like an Instagram video of like the kids in the backyard or the kids in school, and I'll post it and I'll set my phone down. But I don't take that video and then watch everybody else's videos or comment on other people's stuff. Or like if I post on Instagram, usually if I'm going to post, I post something in the morning about the house or something, you know, like go declutter something or something like that, then I'm not going to sit there and respond to everybody's comments. The only time I'm going to be on my phone is when the kids are all napping in the during nap time or after bedtime. The kids are all in bed, or sometimes when I'm feeding Lucy. And that's even been something I've had to work on. When I'm nursing a baby all the time, first you should know I don't really enjoy nursing. So I do it, but I'm not one of these moms that's like, oh my gosh, I'm nursing my baby. This is all these wonderful, warm feelings. So I do try to give her some attention during that time, but then I am usually on my phone. And I've had to struggle with, like, since she nursed so much in the beginning, that I'm not on my phone for hours and hours a day just because she's nursing for hours and hours a day. That I make sure I do at some point during nap time, put the phone down and pick up an actual book and read something, read my Bible, do something else, even though I may feel like I'm stuck under a baby a little bit. So that's how I limit it. It's just saying the kids need to be asleep. I don't need to be scrolling my phone. My kids are awake and I could be spending time with them. I don't need to be picking it up and checking it. Something that's helped me is when you plug it in, like on your countertop, like it's an actual phone, you don't allow yourself to unplug it because then you can't walk around the house with it. I don't watch YouTube videos while I do laundry or while I do dishes or anything like that because usually my kids are involved or they're around. So that's how I've taken to limiting social media. I could definitely be better at it. There have been times that I would take off, like I wouldn't get on at all on Sundays. I might get back into doing that. But different things like that. But for the most part, if the kids are asleep, then that's when I can do it. I don't watch TV. So for me, YouTube is my TV. Watching other moms and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's how I do it. But I think just whatever works for you, but definitely give yourself some limits. I've talked about in my video about professional motherhood, viewing motherhood, at least while your husband's gone, really as your profession, and you probably wouldn't be allowed to be on your phone all the time when you are a secretary or a dentist or whatever your profession would be. You wouldn't be allowed to be on your phone all the time. So treat your job as a mom the same way and put the phone away. Okay, so I've told you my thoughts on YouTube. I've told you my thoughts on Facebook. Moving on over to Instagram, because it's the other one that I have. My thoughts on Instagram are I enjoy it more than Facebook, but Instagram is more of a place that's just kind of connected to a lot of what I do on YouTube. So I don't follow a ton of people I know on Instagram like I do on Facebook. Like my Facebook is private, so like it's not for people that follow this. I don't link it in the description box for anybody to go add me on Facebook. That's for people that I know. And then Instagram is public, and so I post less of my kids on Instagram than I do on Facebook because I'm not sharing my kids with the whole world like I am my little world on Facebook. I do post their faces, but I don't post a lot about them there. It's more about my home or just stuff that's going on just with me. Let's see, what else do I think about Instagram? I don't follow a ton of people. I would say if you're struggling with your use of social media and stuff, make sure that you're following people that are really adding to your life, that you're not following people that just constantly lead you into comparison. Obviously, that is your choice, not their doing, that you're comparing yourself. But if you feel like you continually struggle with the same few accounts, maybe just don't follow them. I think I follow like 200 and something people. Some of those people I know, and some of those are people that I follow their YouTube or whatever. But be very careful on who you follow, because also that will lead to you not being on it forever. If you don't follow a ton of people, then you've seen what's been posted that day and you don't need to be on it another 15 times because no one has added anything to it, you know? So I would be careful with that. But I think Instagram is fun. One of the drawbacks to Instagram that I have with YouTube too is, and this goes to who you're following, is that it can be very staged. Very staged. But just keep that in mind. And if you know that, then you know maybe you don't want to follow the staged accounts. I don't think I really follow anybody that stages their pictures. I used to. And again, in my video about things I wish I knew as a first-time mom, I talked about when I first had Martin, I followed a lot of fashion accounts on Instagram and Pinterest, and it really wasn't good for me. So I don't do that anymore. yeah, and I like people that keep it pretty real, and that doesn't mean that you have to complain all the time and tell me everything that went wrong in your day. I don't do that on my Instagram. I try to keep it a positive place, but I do mix in some stuff like, hey, you know, blowouts and babies that bite during nursing happen to everybody, so that is happening in my life as well. But I do enjoy Instagram, and I keep it to that same time limit that I do the rest of my social media, which is when the kids are in bed, or napping, or I'm nursing Lucy, and usually that's when the kids are in bed, or a couple times in the morning. So I think that is my big thoughts on social media that I don't need to save to tell you about till I answer your questions. I think it's just a place that it is what you make it. You know, you shouldn't eat too much cake. You shouldn't be on social media too much, but cake is okay sometimes, and so is social media. But know what is in your cake, know what you're eating, and then know what you're following. And make sure you know you can choose who to follow, and you can love people and not follow them if it's not good, for your own mental health, and be continually checking it, because you're going to be in different seasons. I think I could follow fashion bloggers now and not feel bad about my wardrobe or feel like I needed to go buy things, but I don't know, and I don't do it just because I don't need to. So I'm going to get to your questions now. Okay. Is there something that would make you cringe if people thought it about you from watching your YouTube videos and stuff like that? Yeah, definitely. Lots of things. I don't want people to ever think that I'm fake, because I don't like that in other people. And I don't want anyone to ever think, probably the biggest one, is that I'm judging them if they think differently. So I have no problem if you're a hoarder. If that makes you happy, please be a hoarder. Like, you do not have to have X amount of things for Jesus to love you. He already does. Or for me to love you. So I don't want anybody to ever think that any of the advice, I guess you could call it, that I give, or the encouragement that I give, means that if you think differently or live differently or do differently, then I'm going to have a problem with you, because I am not. There are people that want to simplify their life, and then those tips are for them. And there are people that don't and are happy the way they are, and I say, rock on, I love you. So I wouldn't want people to think that I'm judgmental just because I share my beliefs or my thoughts. How do you limit time on social media? So I just told you, I stick it to times when the kids are asleep. Do you use Facebook? So I already answered that, because I did delete it for a while, and I mentioned that in the video before. I do, but just for personal stuff, and I don't do a lot of scrolling. I mostly just post stuff on my kids. How do you answer people who say your online friends are just online or fake, or do you get that said to you at all? I have never had that said to me, but I would add, like, I don't think I can express enough how small of an aspect of my life YouTube is. So just because I put out a 15-minute video once a week, it means that it really does take like 20 minutes of my life that week. And so it's not something that I talk about a ton. I'm not one of those people that is embarrassed if someone finds my YouTube that knows me in real life. I don't keep it hidden. I'm not like ashamed of it or anything weird. But it's just not a big topic of conversation. My bigger hobby is running. So I talk about running a lot, or I love to cook. And I have 4 funny kids that I talk about a lot. So it's not something I talk about a lot. And I don't talk about, I think, anybody super specific to anyone either. Like, I think the online community is great, but I do think it's online. I think it's important to have friends in person. But it is great for having people more in your season of life if people around you aren't in that same season or have those same values. I think that's where social media is awesome for the community of, if you're trying to live debt-free and you're the only one in your friend group, it's great for that. Or if you're trying to lose weight or whatever it is, I think it can be great and encouraging, but it's important to have friends that you see around your dinner table as well. So I just don't talk about YouTube a lot or Instagram and stuff, so I've never had that said to me. I don't know if people say that behind my back, though. Who knows? How do you not fall into the comparison trap? So one thing is really being careful with who I follow on like Instagram and even YouTube, is that I follow people that I feel like are pretty real and share the whole of their life, and not the beautiful and the crafted and the staged and the perfect lighting and all those things. And because I do that, I see the good and the bad in their life, and I know there's good and bad in my life. And even if I'm following somebody that maybe isn't quite as authentic, I think I'm mature enough to know that they're not showing the whole picture. So for the most part, I would say I just don't follow people that would, I think, tempt me to really compare myself to them. And again, my life is not centered in social media. So there's so much of my life that is not me looking at my phone, that it just isn't taking up that much space in my brain. So I would encourage someone, if they're having trouble with comparison, spend more time watering your own grass. You're spending too much time looking at somebody else's life if you're really able to compare yours to theirs. Okay, I have 2 questions left. So has anyone in your real life ever questioned why you do YouTube instead of like your church, your friends, your family? No. But again, I had a blog before that a lot of people knew about, and so it's been kind of just a transition from my blog to YouTube. And I just don't talk about it a lot. Like, it's just not a very big piece of my world. You know, some people, YouTube is their job or their favorite hobby or their passion, and that's great, and it's just not mine. It's just a small way that I hope to kind of encourage some other moms. So it's just not a big part of my life. So it's not talked about very often. If they've questioned it, they've never questioned it to me. That is my take, I think, on social media. I feel like I've hopefully covered most of what I wanted to talk about. Tell me your thoughts on social media in the comments down below. What forms of social media do you use? And which one is your favorite? So I'll ask that for my question down below, and I will talk to y'all there. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for following along this last year. It's been great.